I'm Elena Sisti. I'm the Reference and Archives Librarian.
I'm Patsie McCandless, and I graduated from Rosemont in 1969.
I'm Sharon Latchaw Hirsh. I'm the president of Rosemont College right now, but I graduated from Rosemont in 1970.
I'm Joe Dara, Director of Alumni Relations, class of 2011.
Lillian Mann, Archives Assistant.
Okay, today is July 30th, 2019, and we're here to collect Patty's and Sharon's oral histories, specifically as they relate to their time and experience in the Tetones. So let's get started with the questions. Can you describe the process of becoming members of the Tetones? Was it an audition? Did you just walk up and join? And what was it like? How were you feeling going through the process?
Well, I did not just walk up, although I really wanted to. But there was an audition, and it was in the large tea room, not the old male tea room. And all of the Tetones were there, and one of them taught me my part for Moon River, and then another one who was doing that, another part, she listened to me, and I had to sing a cappella, just my part, while other people were singing over here, and there was noise in the background over here, and so she put her ear right to my mouth, and I just kept singing, and it was funny. I wasn't nervous at all. I felt very confident. Perhaps it was because of the Tetones. They were so welcoming. Mm-hmm. They were really wonderful. So that was my experience.
Okay.
You have such a better memory than I do, Patsy. I swear it's not repression. I had a really good college experience, but there's stuff I do not remember, and I think, how could that be? When I first stepped in as president, John Kuhn stopped in to say hi, and of course I was in all kinds of plays and productions, and he said, "Here, I have this for you." He had an extra copy of one of the playbills, and I handed it. I got it, and I said, "Oh, this is wonderful." Meanwhile, I'm looking at it, and later I looked at it. I was listed as having a part. I do not remember the play. I do not remember that part. I apparently was an Irish lady, and he said, "You had that accent down." I was like, "Okay." I remember that I auditioned.
Okay.
And I only remember one thing, that I could sing anything I wanted to, and maybe that's because you were in a hurry to give me Titones.
Please come on board.
So I sang something that was left over from a musical I'd been in. Mm-hmm. So I was singing it more as a solo. And then the next thing they did, they gave me a part and had me sing with them. I don't remember being separate or together, but I do remember that they wanted to make sure that that wasn't my only volume, and I could sing with others and stay on cue. I mean, that was quite clear.
Where did we do it? Because I am drawing a blank on that. I would have been there.
Yes, you would have. You would have. And I just looked at more stuff here. That's exactly what happened. If you put this together with that, the date of that, and then this, I must have joined at the end of my junior year, when you knew that all those people were leaving.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
I would just like to agree with Sharon that I draw blanks. Some of the questions that were offered ahead of time, I thought, I don't remember this, and it says I sang there, and I just don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
But other things
In fact,
are
I forgot
embedded,
my
so
copy.
I think we can go from there.
It sounds like you're both remembering quite a bit, or
Yeah.
at least to collect all this information. You both had mentioned that you were in the Glee Club prior to becoming a Tetone. Did you have any prior singing experience before even being in the Glee Club?
Yeah.
Very much.
Like in high school?
I grew up singing in church choirs.
Okay.
I was in the Glee Club. I was in performances, just like Sharon.
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
plays and performances, and we did Little Mary Sunshine. Our class did it for our junior sisters, I guess, and I was Little Mary Sunshine. So
Yeah.
yes.
And I had done Little Mary Sunshine as summer stock.
Oh.
Yeah, I did summer stock the summer between I guess, my junior high school and senior high school
Okay.
here. And I played Mary's Who Was Best Friends? Who was the best friend?
Oh.
Vera?
Yes, it was
Something like
odd-
that.
odd name, yes.
Yeah. So I've done a lot, and I've done musicals even for my high school, but also my brother's high school, because to an all male South
And-
Catholic.
And your
Pittsburgh.
brother has more information that's related to the Tetones, I remember, from Princeton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear about that too. How were the songs that the Tetones performed selected? And you had, Patsie, mentioned about that you knew someone's brother did the arrangements.
Yes, when I joined the Tetones, there were already arrangements,
Okay.
and they were musical sheets, so
Oh, okay.
I just learned my part from that. But as we went on, the a cappella became accompanied by guitar. I played guitar, and I played a little ukulele banjo, and then we had Peggy Pecorino, who joined, I think, for only 1 year when she was a freshman, and she arranged music also, and her brother helped her. The brother of Janet Leonard, his name was Roger Leonard, and he was very, very musical, and I got some notes from her, which I don't know exactly where I put that, but yeah, he arranged Sunday Will Never Be the Same.
Okay.
It was her twin brother, Roger Leonard, and he went on to become a vocal coach for the Broadway musical stage professionals and taught a course in musical comedy auditioning at Purdue University. He has sadly passed on. But so what happened after that was we just did it ourselves.
Yeah.
We would play guitar, we would get a note from that, and honestly, that was the magic of the group. When I was there, it was like, we're just harmonizing, and we're making it, and it sounds great. So that's where it took off.
And I remember I did do some of the arrangements.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'd work it out on the piano
Yes.
and then transcribe it into different people's parts and
Yeah.
so forth. But I remember when we got the actual the arrangement for what was it, Monday, that somehow somebody knew somebody who knew somebody, that we got the actual arrangement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody's all excited about that.
Yeah.
And if you listen to that one on the recording, it really does sound really close
Yeah.
to the original that everybody knew from their mamas and papas.
Yeah.
And that's because somehow we got it.
Actually, I think it was Sunday Will Never Be the Same. I think that's what
Oh,
it was, because
okay.
we didn't do Monday on the album.
Okay.
Although we did do it, but
Yeah.
he's the one who did Sunday Will Never Be the Same, Roger
Okay.
Leonard, and I agree. It was like, oh,
So he must
This-
have had
this
access
is
to,
yeah,
or been
think he
very
did.
good.
yeah,
Because we knew we had it nailed.
yes.
So how did you select the songs that you would perform or record?
Well, many of them there was a standard repertoire, and some of them were still my favorites, like Once in a While, and Let's Take It Nice and Easy, and so we always sang those, and they were always well received, even though they were kind of old chestnuts. And then we started doing the more pop songs, the things that were popular at our time, and we said, and if I could play it on the guitar, it was all the better.
Yeah.
So it was really good. So that's how we selected. We just said, this would be good for our group.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a song that was mentioned often in your playlist, The Wife of the Life of the Party. Did you ever perform that?
No, never. That I
Oh,
think
okay.
I've heard that on one of the previous
I
albums.
was very
though.
curious about that. Okay. What was your favorite song to perform? And why?
It was almost always whatever we were singing. I mean, I just really cannot stress the feeling of harmonizing with these other women. It really was a magical feeling, and it was like, ooh, when you got that resonation going, it was just beautiful. But I really think the best, really truly arranged ones, like Let's Take It Nice and Easy, I think it was arranged from the Frank Sinatra edition of that song. And you can hear the musical parts becoming voice parts if you listen to both. And I think it was a really well arranged piece, and I think we performed it well. And it was got to be one of our things, and we would just come out with it. So it was really great.
I don't remember having a favorite.
No? You just enjoyed them all.
Yeah.
And that comes through, I think, on the recording, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the recording, your recording sessions were pledged by Rosemont students. How was that promoted, and how did you get these pledges? How did you convince the students?
Again, I'm not sure I remember everything about it, but I'm pretty sure it came from Ronnie Ahern.
Okay.
Because she just was always so, even though she was not a Tetone, she was a huge fan, and she was roommates with our EFIS, Patty Zuthan.
Okay.
So I think she and Patty came up with this idea. We need to make a recording. It's time. And I was like, okay, I'm just going along. And so I think she came up with almost everything. Like, okay, we're going to need money, and let's get the students involved. And then they had a photographer who said, how about if we have a recording session on stage, and we'll get all the students to come, like they're the audience, and they'll be in the audience. So this is the only picture that does include the students. But I remember her taking pictures of the audience, of faces, enjoying, clapping along, that kind of thing. And you can see we're pretty engaged with the audience. So I would chalk that up to Ronnie Ahern.
Okay.
What I don't remember, I remember doing little mini concerts right in the dining hall.
Yes.
For a special meal or something like that. But I don't think I was ever involved in that. I don't know who set that up. No, I wasn't in in that, which again serves to that I would have been added later. At the end of '68.
Okay.
But I don't remember even who arranged that, who would set that up. I just told, we're going to do a set, for Monday night's holiday dinner or something.
What was it like just being a student from the perspective of pledges and just knowing that your fellow students contributed in that way? What was it like being in the group as a student from that perspective, just even on campus?
It was really an amazing experience, I feel, because it didn't matter where we were singing. We would sing in the cafeteria fairly often.
Yeah.
They loved us.
Great.
And, oftentimes the year began, how the freshmen would always introduce themselves and different groups would come on stage. And so we would sing for the freshmen, and they were gaga over us. So I just felt like, a little rock star kind of thing. It was like they just appreciated us, and knowing that they were already putting up funds to hear a recording that we hadn't even made yet, and I really appreciated that. I was very grateful.
Okay. Did you have any pre-performance rituals or superstitions or practices that you did before every? No.
No.
Okay.
I had a pitch pipe or my guitar, and sometimes I remember before we did the Villanova show, it was a music festival. We practiced in the basement of Heffernan, and we actually bought a tape recorder and practiced a lot. And it was not a very good experience because it was doing that wah 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 thing, into the day. It was terrible, and but I think just doing it over and over helped us for a performance on a stage that we were not familiar with. So
the Villanova thing, that wasn't the sing along.
No, it was actually a performance. I think I have the picture somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, that must have been before my time too.
I sent it to Joe, so I know it'll be part of the archives. But it's a picture of golly, I don't know where it is. but it's a picture of the Villanova poster, and then it's us. I'm sorry, I can't find the picture because it really would bring back the memory for you. It's again, we did not have any outfits. We just dressed the way we wished, and there was a panel of judges. I was very serious, and Bryn Mawr won because they did a song from Simon and Garfunkel, the American. Where they're taking a trip across America in a bus, and it was very good. And you know, I do not remember what we did.
Along the same lines of support, college students tend to be fairly busy, I think, with studies and homework and whatnot. Talk about the support that you had from the standpoint of needing practice time, camaraderie time, whatever time you would need to maintain a group like this, the support that you had from instructors, teachers, general, just the general community in that regard.
I don't really recall much. I do remember when we made the recording, we were going to be gone Friday. I think we got, and we didn't have to go to class on Monday. I just got in touch with my professors. They were all great about it. But we practiced after hours, and we practiced and we performed many of these things either in the cafeteria at dinner time, or on Sunday weekends. It was always weekends. Yeah. So it really did not interfere. Although I could have spent my life here singing. It was just it was such a wonderful.
No, it wasn't. It was totally student run. It wasn't like athletics that we had that much on our calendar. We didn't have a sponsor or an advisor.
No.
It was just we were the student group that got together and just did it.
On the album, it says that Patty Nugent was our moderator. I don't remember her being a part of it at all, but she perhaps signed on as I'll be the
official club
official thing.
Sponsor.
So, but I don't remember her being involved.
You had mentioned you're coordinating outfits, and I had read a Rambler article that mentioned your cranberry dresses and your tea rose emblem. Can you talk about the significance of your look and if it contained any symbolism?
I was not part of the cranberries or the rose emblem. But again, I think that may be what I saw the first time I saw them perform. Because there was this real group feel. I've said they looked elegant, and they performed elegantly. And so when we decided that we wanted to have an outfit, I'm pretty sure it was Patty, because she got the Vogue pattern and the fabric, and she chose the green and the pink. And as I said, I sewed mine. I think I sewed Carol and Allison, Carol Syndico's and Allison's. But everyone had a seamstress, if not me. So the distinguishing factor was that we each got to choose a little silk neckerchief to wear, and that kind of gave us our individuality, I suppose. But it was quite a nice look, and I do have the picture of that.
Yes.
Which I believe I sent to Joe down here.
Oh, okay.
Pink and green dresses.
And that was all the look at the time. You know,
Yeah.
you think of that now as preppy.
Yes.
60s, and it was.
Yeah.
That was the preppy look. Including the kerchiefs.
Yes.
That was.
Yes, it was all part of the look. Yeah.
So at one time, Sharon, you mentioned you went to Saks, you think.
Probably it was Saks, yeah.
That was maybe one time when you bought dresses off the rack?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
But
did.
you all came to a consensus as to what you wanted
we
to
all
buy.
agreed, we tried different things on, and we all agreed that on this one outfit, and then we tried them on for size and so forth, and left there that day with new outfits. That was it. It was like a lightweight but knit.
Okay.
So we figured you could wear it in short sleeve And we said, you could wear this all year.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be okay.
Did you only wear your special outfits for special performances? Like you mentioned you performed in the cafeteria very often. Did you just wear what you were wearing that day for those sorts of
No,
everyday
you're right.
performances?
I don't think we wore. I think they were for special, and they, we just felt pretty spiffy in them.
Yes.
So
Sure. Okay. So you would wear them like when parents would visit.
I do not remember doing parent weekends.
No.
I know that was one of the
I
questions.
don't either, and
Yeah,
I think I know why. Because the director of the choir didn't like the idea.
Oh, okay.
That,
Okay.
he didn't like the idea that I left the choir to go
Yes.
over to the Tetons.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
And they had a big presence on Parents' Weekend.
Yes.
Like there was a concert scheduled from the very beginning. Everybody went to it. And I'm guessing that might have been why.
I think you're right. Because
Interesting.
I remember having that same experience when I went to tell him that I wouldn't be coming anymore. I was part of the Tetons. All right, you choose. Be on your way. It was very dismissive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Which is not uncommon.
No.
Oh, really?
I mean, no, I was for years at Dickinson College, and they have a really big music program
Okay.
and a really big choir and orchestra and everything else. And there was an a cappella group started, Rogue, and all the
Rogue.
the music professors and the chair of the music department was really, really upset. In the meantime, the a cappella group was really, really good. So it's co-ed and really good. So so it's not uncommon, I think, for these a cappella groups to
Spin.
cause a little, yeah.
Disturbance. You mentioned that you used the word rogue. Would you describe the Tetones as going rogue since they spun off the Glee Club?
I imagine it might have been quite a big thing. This would have been in 1950s. I forget if it was
Yeah.
52 or 56. So that was before my time. But I can just imagine, a group saying, "No, we're going to try this ourselves." And it may have been a spin-off because I was in a couple of little things where I was a part of a group in Glee Club.
Oh, okay.
And so you start seeing these other people that you're singing with in small groups and say, "Hey, let's try another song, ourselves," that kind of thing. And I would imagine it's really, I think it's kind of cool to be rogue, but
Yes.
I
But it
would
might have
imagine
been
it's a
very
very
organic,
natural,
organic, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we did notice two different dates in our research about when the
Yes.
Tetons may have formed, so we wanted to know if you had any insight
Yeah.
into that,
No.
52 or 56.
No.
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 Okay. Okay, we'll get to the bottom of it. You had mentioned a term, ephus or ephus.
Oh, yes.
I had never heard of that until I started researching the Tetones.
Yeah.
That-
Nobody has ever heard
Yes.
of it.
Same here.
Now, I happened to be with our baby grands, as we call them, and I said, I have to figure out, before I go to this oral history, what does the ephus
Yes.
mean?
Yes. that's
So
what was gonna
I
ask.
was saying this at the breakfast table, and our 9-year-old grand, who has information on all kinds of things, said, "Oh, an ephus is a baseball term, and it means nothing. It's a pitch. It's when the pitcher has been pitching fastballs and then pitches a really slow arced ball, and it became very popular because you could get strikeouts pretty easily because the batters weren't used to it. But basically, the pitcher who invented this said it's really a nothing pitch, so it means nothing. And I thought, oh no, I'm not sticking with that. So I went to look up. I figured it had something to do with Greek. So I was looking it up, and it kept pulling up Ephesians, St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians. So I looked up Greek Ephesos, traditionally derived from ephoros, meaning overseer.
Oh,
And I thought,
that makes
okay,
sense.
that fits. And it's in reference to a religious significance, but it also might be part of folk etymology.
Okay.
And it also, from St. Paul, the letter to the Ephesians talks of the grace and peace to you from God. And I thought, well, that was us. We were full of grace. I really felt blessed to be a part of that group. And also, the city of Ephesus had been abandoned, and it was a harbor, but it had gotten completely filled in with silt. So the people left the harbor and went up into the hills, but they came back and took the stones and built their new homes from the stones of the original place, and they actually ground the statues to make the cement for their buildings. So I thought, well, that would work also, because we were built from the Glee Club that was already here. So I thought, it's a stretch, but, so that's what I discovered. So,
And to be honest, I have no knowledge or memory of that word, either from the Titones or baseball. I'm just sitting here thinking, when I was with the Titones and going elsewhere and singing and all this stuff, I was also directing our class play. I was the dorm rep for the brand new experimental dorm rep for, I think, Connolly. So I was keeping busy. I just don't remember all the... And I wasn't involved in being the over,
you were not the EVIS?
No.
Oh, I would have thought you were a shoo-in to be the EVIS.
I don't...
Do you
If
remember
I
who
was,
was?
I don't remember that word ever being used, and I don't remember being that actively involved in, I was asked to do an arrangement, and I did it, but I wasn't the one that was making all the plans, other than the trip to Princeton. That's the only one I was involved
I
in.
remember that one.
I was just
Tell us about
remembered
that.
to show up.
Well, I believe it was your brother invited us, and we were quite excited, thrilled to go. And when we got there, it was more of a 60s fraternity party kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of smoky with guys and their dates. And I thought, oh, we are so out of our element. I just felt like, this is not going to work. But we went down to a little coat room someplace and kind of ran through our repertoire. And finally, I think it was you, Sharon, that said, okay, come on, let's just get up there and do it. And we did it. I remember we faltered in one song. I don't remember. It might have been Sunday. Will Never Be the Same, because there was a key change in it. And some of the new people weren't quite used to singing it, because I'm pretty sure we did it in your junior year. Would that be right? Yeah, we had to, because I was a senior.
Because my brother was a senior.
Oh, okay.
And I knew all along that he invited us to come and sing at, they don't have fraternities, they have dining clubs, which are the same thing. It's just at Princeton they call it something different. And I remember he was upset at the behavior, because we got paid a little bit to come as part of the entertainment for this party. And this was Princeton. The first such dining club party that I went to was a Hawaiian theme, and they had flowers flown in from Hawaii. And it was like, this is a different level altogether. So, but he was upset because of it. But I do remember I wore regular clothes there, but we changed into these.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I remember because I was wearing.
So wait, did you get invited back? Because I was never a part of that outfit.
Oh.
So maybe you were invited back because of your brother.
No, but he would have graduated.
Oh. I don't. I see. There goes the blank.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was a good experience, because we really had to show up and perform, and it didn't feel that welcoming to me. When we got there, it did, but then when I saw everyone, I thought, oh, this is.
We were used to showing up, and everybody would stop.
Yes.
And listen to us.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we were the entertainment at a party.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the same as giving a concert or giving, doing a set.
There you
And
go.
everybody would stop and pay attention. So we were pretty rattled. Yeah. I said, look,
But
we
we did
said
it.
we'd do it. They're giving us a small check. We need to show up.
Yes.
So we did.
And it was very memorable.
But
Yes. It got.
Do you remember going to an alumna's house? She was having a cocktail party.
The one that I remember, I actually have a photo.
I think it was in Connecticut.
Because we drove, I think it was Ronnie Ahern's house. And here we are.
Was it?
See, there you are.
Oh, gee, yeah.
And my memory of
God,
that,
I remember that dress.
it was wonderful. They loved us. And
Yeah, it was a very different experience
Yes.
because everybody stopped.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I don't remember that it was Ronnie's house. It must have been her parents' house.
Well, I thought it was Ronnie's house, but because we drove to Long Island from here. And,
Yeah.
And I have this memory. I was talking about Johanna Hopkins, and so I was. See, now wait a minute. How did Johanna drive us? I don't remember. I know she drove us because we were stopped 3 times. It was a big Lincoln town car. We were stopped 3 times on the way home by the same police officer. You're speeding again, Johanna. Well, we decided she was not really speeding, or not very much.
Uh-huh.
I think he was hitting on her.
Oh my goodness.
And she was so beautiful. She had this like chestnut red hair, and she just had this beautiful voice, and maybe she batted her eyes at him, I don't know, but I was sitting in the back. But I remember getting stopped 3 times. So that's another story that has nothing to do with music, but
We want those stories too.
We had fun.
What was the most impressive place you ever performed?
for me it was the RCA studios.
Okay.
And these are some of the pictures from that. This is Chris Kuklo in her leopard jacket, and Gail DeFrancesco and me, and we're pointing to us, our singing schedule on the hallway in
That's pretty.
in the RCA studios. I remember the Fat City Five from Villanova also played with us on a couple of songs, and it was not a large studio, so they took up most of the room, and then we had to go in the voice room, and we were singing, and we had been to the Rainbow Room the night before. Patty and I think Ronnie came with us, and they had some kind of connection that we got reservations there, and it was this lovely thing, and we all had wine. And the next morning, our voices were not that great, and I said, "We are flat. We are so flat." And so we all took a break and gargled with salt water, and went back in, and it was okay. But it just felt very professional. We were treated very professionally, and I believe Janet talks about that too in her notes,
Okay.
about how well we were treated, and they gave us plenty of time. We had redos, and it was very impressive.
Okay. Good. What was the?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I remember, I think, what we organized as a sing-along, and we had it in the lower level of alumni, and I don't remember. I think it was just for the fun of doing it. There wasn't a contest because nobody won, by my recollection. But do you remember
I
that at all?
remember that because at the reunion this year, at our 50th reunion, I did a little sing-along, and so many of them were singing along. And maybe not really loud, but I could see them. They're all, and one of the girls, Barbara Janess Doyle, said to me, "I remember singing along with you in the tea, and I so wanted to be a Tito." So.
Well, I remember Penn being there. Their singing group.
Oh, okay.
And possibly Villanova, and I'm pretty sure Princeton.
Okay.
which
That-
my brother was not in. He was in the Triangle Club, which was the
Okay.
crazy play that they did that had the, they were all men at the time, and they ended up always with the can-can. Being performed in drag. Now that's the one my brother was in.
Okay, well, I may be mixing something up because I don't know, I don't remember quite that. And that might be the Villanova experience that we had when Penn and Bryn Mawr actually won.
Uh-huh.
And there were groups from schools all over the area.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I do not remember what we performed, but I remember performing really well. And
And I don't either.
yeah, so it was. But anyway, so we didn't have that many engagements, as I recall, but we did sing for, you know, in a little in nursing homes. I remember this was a children's wing of a hospital. We sang often here. And whenever we could, we would sing in the cafeteria. And I was, in my senior year, I was friendly with a group, a small rogue group from St. Joe's. And he actually still lives here. His name was Jack Rickenbach, and Denny Johnson and Susan Moran. And they played guitar, banjo, and she was the singer. So I invited them to the cafeteria to sing. And so we sang, and then they sang. And really, I remember people standing up clapping for us. They just really responded, resonated with us. So, and it was the time of folk music and you know, beginning folk rock music, that kind of thing. So, people really appreciated it.
It seems like music has always had a significant place on Rosemont's campus, and even till this day. Why do you think that is?
I so believe in music. I completely believe that music is the universal language that connects us all. That it is transforming, and we can weep, we can dance with joy, we can sing our hearts out, and people feel it. And it's all about reaching that place. And I completely believe in music. I've recently published my first novel, and music plays a huge part in it. And when I present it, there are songs throughout it, so I always present and I sing one of the songs, so I still sing. And then I just gave a TEDx talk a year ago on cell phone addiction, and I sing a piece from Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods called Children Will Listen at the end of it, and I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
So
Good.
I really believe that music is what touches us all, so genuinely.
Well, from my position as an administrator, I can look back and think that we never had a music major or a music program per se. And one of the reasons why was our size. We have always had a pretty strong studio art major. And that's kind of expensive to mount as a major, but music majors are even more so.
Oh, yes.
So I think we kind of found our niche with the studio art and then left it to other ways to have people involved in music. So I know at the time that the class plays used to be huge, like really
Yes.
big
Yes.
deal. And we did a straight drama my freshman year. I was in it. And after that, everybody wanted to do a musical.
Well,
Cramped
Julie-
into 20 minutes, just shoot me
Julie, I
down.
can't think of her last name. And they did Peter Pan, and they won. And I remember her standing up and saying Captain Hook's line, "Oh, fame, what a glittering bauble." And it was like we were all glommed on to her and this whole music thing that was happening. Musicals were huge on Broadway still. And, you know, I just feel like that was part of, everybody wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, musicals included more people.
Yes.
And then you had somebody who could contribute the choreography or
Yes.
whatever to go with it.
Yes.
But I remember my sophomore year, I don't know if I was asked or offered to direct or whatever, but we had the discussion, do we want to do another straight drama or do we want to do musical? And we decided on musical, and then for junior and senior year was no question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, no,
And
we're
then
going to do musical.
our junior class, I wasn't part of the organizing of Little Mary Sunshine, but we did that for our freshman sisters. It was huge. It was this great, and almost every single person in our class was either on stage or backstage or producing or
Yeah.
Bill playing. It was amazing. And what I remember is Claudine Schneider, who became the first congressional woman in Congress from my state of Rhode Island. So she came back to Rhode Island, and we knew each other there. She was a sophomore at the. She was still here, and so we. Now I'm realizing I'm getting some timing mixed up, but nevertheless, she did all the choreography for all of these things, and it was wild. I mean, we did this Indian dance that was like, what are we doing here? So it was. She had drums and everything going.
Yeah.
So it was really. I think that music also brings out the best in people, and it brings out things that you just can't believe, like drumming, on stage, and people were they just got into it. And so, yeah.
Did any of your peers on the T-Tones go professional in a music career?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
No. I would like to say about music. I grew up on this little island in Jamestown, Rhode Island, and I went back there, and I taught there for over 30 years. And one year in 1992, I think it was, we had this pathetic Memorial Day parade, and the music, because there was no band, the music was a phonograph on the back of a Jeep that they were.
There you go.
It was terrible. And our town doctor, like a country doctor, looked down at me and he said, I think we can do better than this. How about, I bet you that there are musical people in our town. Let's put a band together. We put the band together. I was playing my fife from a fife and drum band that I was in 5th grade.
Wow.
And so I eventually switched over to the flute because the people came out of the woodwork. We had people, and our first performance was a march on Memorial Day. It was like a ticker tape parade in New York City. The place was mobbed, and they were throwing confetti at us, and it was hooting and hollering. And I'm proud to say that they are still in business on the island, and still beloved. We became a concert band and a marching band.
Okay.
So music is huge. I just love the way people respond to music.
So you, post T-Tones, continued a little bit to be involved. Well, quite a bit to be involved in music.
I was still. I was in the choral group. I actually got to be Buttercup in HMS Pinafore.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it was just things like that that just kept happening, and it's been really an interesting ride because here we are 50 years later from my graduation, and I realize, it's all these little things that I was doing in music or art or writing or being a teacher, and they've all kind of come together, and I just find it amazing. I'm not done yet, and I feel like that's part of what I learned here at Rosemont. You're never done. Keep going. There's more.
Sharon, were you involved in anything musical post T-Tones?
Trying to think, no.
Okay.
Maybe I was with some things, but I don't remember. They would have been,
Okay.
pop-up, casual things. But I also didn't do any more studio art
Oh, really?
after Rosemont, which really surprised me
Yeah.
because I was a double major and had to decide. And I'd gotten a offer of a fellowship if I went on in studio art at Iowa, which is a big, big program based on my senior show here. But I decided I liked art history more. And I did a couple of prints over the first summer of my graduate work. That was it. I haven't done a bit yet, but I've also written a lot, and I consider that a creative outlet.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, very, and very successfully so. And you speak beautifully about art history also, I would like to say. I found it really interesting to be a part of the 50th reunion here, and I became an artist after I left Rosemont,
really?
which I thought was almost funny because all of my friends were art majors, art, studio art or art history. And so I got in touch with Pat Nugent and asked if I could be in the show, and she said yes. And so at the celebration, the opening reception, everybody is looking at me saying, "Weren't you a history major?" I said yes. But again, I really feel like my education at Rosemont and the people that I met and the professors, I just felt like there is no impossible. It's all possible. So I really like to attribute that to my education and my experiences here. And I certainly think Tito's was a part of that. We just did it. It's kind of like that Nike thing, just do it. We just did. So,
Okay.
I was just looking at this one article from October 1969 that had 3 more new Titones. And they do talk about singing, presenting for Parents' Weekends, which I don't remember at all.
I'm with you.
Well, it sounds like you did so many performances. A lot of them probably blend into one.
And I think some of them, as opposed to the concert, which was set up and advertised and everything else, this as an informal concert will be held for Sunday afternoon for the Senior Parents' Weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. They will sing in the tea. This is what I must be remembering. Several other groups have been invited, including the Villanova Spires and the Georgetown Chimes, and that was the one that I'm remembering, the pen.
Hey.
Yeah. So it would have been in October, was coming up November of 1969. So that's why you don't remember it and I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Whew. Thank God for newspapers.
Well, that's why these archives are so
And archives.
important.
Yes, for sure.
It's really great.
In 1967, there was a radio special, an hour-long radio special on the Titones. Do you remember that? Were you involved in that on WFIL?
I believe that I was involved, and again, I hardly remember it, but I sang. I'm pretty sure I sang a solo called Scotch and Soda.
Yes.
With my guitar, and Patty and I sang Here, There, and Everywhere, something like that. But honestly, I just keep wondering. I don't remember being in a studio. Did we tape it and send it? I don't.
That was a question I was going to ask you,
Yes,
if it was live or how
yeah.
that was.
So I'm sorry,
done.
I can't help
Okay.
you.
It's fine. Okay. Well, I know we've used up most of our hour that we haven't, promised to you. Is there anything else you would like to share about the Tito's that we haven't asked about? Or a strong memory that you have that you would like to share with us? Or something that you did not like about the Tito's that you might want to share?
No, I love being in the Tito's.
Yep, you too.
I didn't say that part about being in the audition when, the first time I heard the Titones, and I thought, I want to be a Titone. So when I went to the audition, I had this feeling of hope and confidence. And the interesting thing for me was I didn't get in. As a freshman, I got this call on, we had the intercom call things, and I just kind of was flabbergasted. I thought, really? I mean, we made a really good sound together. And then the girl who was listening to my part called back and said, "Patsie, we made a mistake. You're not the Patricia that we were thinking of. You are in the Titones." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh my goodness! Thank you. It was really wonderful." So it was again. I'm sure I'm overusing the word, but it was a magical experience. So I was very happy to be. It was a big part of my life being at Rosemont.
Yes. Oh, good. Wonderful. Good. And it seems like it still is.
Yes. I'm happy
Joe
to say.
reminded me of a question that we wanted to ask that I'm almost forgetting about. There was an election to change the name of the Titones,
Oh yeah.
but the students elected to keep the name.
Yes.
Do you have any idea why that may be? And do you remember any of the other alternative names that were proposed?
I do not remember alternative words, but names. Excuse me. But it seemed to me that a lot of the people felt like there was the tradition, and they didn't want to change it. And at that time, we still called our mailroom the T, the original T building, and it was a great gathering place. And people were just always gathering there, and maybe that transported over to the feeling of gathering us together. I don't know, but no, we stuck with the Titones.
Okay.
I don't remember anything about a name change.
Why
Might
were
have been again before my time.
okay? Why were the Titones called the Titones? Was it because they played or rehearsed so often in the tea house?
That's what I remember being
Okay.
told, that and they performed there also.
Okay.
And that was, I know it was a small building, so it's hard
It
to
was
imagine.
It was like a hut.
Yeah.
It was so small.
But
This
evidently
beloved place.
they
you know,
performed
that's-
there. So, but that really was quite a gathering place. And in the spring, when it started getting warm out, everybody would go get their mail and go out to the back of the tea and sunbathe. So I remember that really being an important place on campus. So
It was also one of the places you could smoke.
that's what it was. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because I remember I did not smoke, but my roommate smoked, and I have a picture. There's a picture that Margaret Monaco found for our reunion booklet, and it's my roommate. Her name is Mary Beth Maloney, but the juniors put on a play, and they had a character called Heidi Beth. And so we called her Heidi, and she is still called Heidi by all the Rosemontsters. Yeah. So, but there's a picture of her. She's got her cap on, so it must have been one of our cap and gown ceremonies. She's reading a letter and smoking a cigarette like this, right on the steps of that old tea.
Yeah,
So
because it was like a front porch or
Yes,
something that you
yes.
stepped up,
Uh-huh.
and there was a line after which you could not smoke, so everybody stood behind that line and smoked.
Yeah.
And I never smoked, but I was allergic to smoke, and so in order for me to get into the mailroom, I would go
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
and run through this group. It was like a fog of cigarette
yeah.
smoke. It was awful because
It really was.
a lot
A
of us
lot
smoked in the 60s.
Yes.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was the thing
Yeah.
to do, and I'm so glad that I never
I
did.
know.
But we won't discuss secondhand smoke getting into the tea to get your mail.
Yeah.
It was also the bookstore for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
They crammed a lot.
they
in
crammed
that
a lot
little
into that.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
And the mail lady was she knew everyone, and she was always so friendly. And
Caroline. Is her
Caroline.
name Caroline?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're right.
She was a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did any of your peers on the Titones smoke? No.
I don't believe
No
so.
recollection.
Because I'm wondering how that may have affected their voices.
Yeah. No, I don't think they did. I don't remember. We didn't smoke when we were singing
Sure.
around, when we would gather. So.
Yeah.
And part of that perhaps was because there was no place to smoke on campus unless you were at the tea,
Mm-hmm.
at the mailroom. So, perhaps.
Well, you certainly have given us a lot of information and nice stories, fun stories. I'm glad you have
good.
such positive memories of your time here at Rosemont and on the Titones. So we want to really thank you for giving us your oral history of the Titones.
I'm honored.
you.
Thank you
Oh,
so
we're
much,
honored
and I'm
to
so
have you.
so happy.
I am
that
too, and I'm thrilled that we're
this
doing
is-
this project.
Is
Thank
a
you.
fabulous
Yes,
great.
project.
Project,
really.
yes.
Great.
You're our first oral
Oh.
history too.
Okay.
Thank you for being the guinea pig.
It will be interesting to see how further things. Although these are Janet's notes, which I'll give to you.
Thank you.
Or I don't know.
We can all share.
Okay,
I'm gonna
and
stop
I don't know if
recording.
you care to have my notes. These are the questions and my answers. But you're welcome to have
Thank
them.
you.
I have them on my computer.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording.